Yeah, go for it.
Just quick housekeeping, so we're not walking around with microphones, so if you have a question, just please raise your hand. Pam will point you out, and then just stand up and kind of project your voice. Yep. If that works.
I can repeat it too if you want.
I can repeat the question too if you want, so everyone can hear it. Okay, questions, hit me up. Have a good day. Someone's gotta have a question. What anything? You got the mayor. Okay.
I'm always intrigued when you listed all the people that are helping our homelessness issue. How are they collectively working together so that, you know, we're all doing such good work, nonprofit? How are all of those people knowing what all of them are doing so that we're collectively helping that population as much as possible?
Yeah, so the question was, in regards to all the agencies or stakeholders in the city that are trying to help with homelessness and other sort of social issues in the city, how are they being able to sort of share information, know what's going on, work together? I hope I captured the question properly there. So I would say that really started during COVID. There was a big move amongst all of the providers to really come together about that question that you just asked. And since COVID, that I've seen that kind of play out. More structurally or from a governance perspective, I would say that the County of Wellington just started last year what's called planning tables. And the planning table has, under the County of Wellington leadership, has different sort of subcommittees set up where a lot of all of these same players in all the different stakeholders and agencies are at that table, and they're addressing certain things. One of them's around finance, one of them's around governance, I think one of them's around basic needs for people. Councillor Gower sits on one as an example. I think Councillor O'Rourke sits on one. Of course, Vice Chair of Governance and Councillor Busatil is here as well, who is on the County of Wellington as the Chair of Social Services. It's all these kind of connections. So we do see that happening. There is a lot of information sharing, because I think what you're really raising is like a silo issue, right? Like if one person's doing this over here and they don't tell these people, and then, yeah, it can become a problem. I think in the last 5 years, I've seen it kind of come together a lot better in the community, and we need to continue to support that.
What else we got?
Okay, we got one over here.
What's the unemployment rate in Guelph, and what's the economic development department in Guelph doing to increase the possibility of more? You touched on it briefly, but
Yep.
I wanted to hear a bit more about that.
Yeah, I don't know the numbers off by hand. Maybe is James here? Do you happen to know what the current numbers? Because it changes, right? So do you know what the current number is? Oh, I was going to say that too. I was. Oh, 6.9%. So Guelph has historically had, not only in Ontario but in Canada, one of the lowest the lower part unemployment rates, and that can be a little bit of a double-edged sword. Like that, a lot of people use that as like a figure to be like, look, our unemployment rate is really great. That's good to celebrate. But for some of our larger markets in town, let's say Linamar, Polycon, like all those types of, like, sometimes that makes it also a struggle to find the skilled labor that they need. So it can kind of be a little bit of a double-edged sword. Under the leadership of James and ECDEV, they are consistently like working on trying to be really strategic in how they're diversifying the attraction of new, stable, and resilient jobs to our community. So it's important to diversify our community, because if struggles come, we don't want to be like all our eggs in one basket, as it would be normally called. So we have diversified quite a bit. We're doing pretty good there. But I think we need to do a little bit more of that. And then, as I said in my speech, the fact that they are doing constant reach out to all the existing businesses as well, to show how they can either, get some help or they can look to expand their operations. That's a kind of a constant churn within City Hall and within that department. But yeah, I think we're sitting at 6.9% right now. Yes?
So you mentioned about the potential downgrading of the rating from AAA.
Yep.
Is that something very specific to Guelph, or are you seeing that in general with other cities in Ontario or even beyond?
Yeah, so the question was, with the credit rating being where it's at, with the perspective and the outlook that it might drop one notch, is that something that you're only seeing here, or are you seeing it elsewhere? It's a mix. I would say that Guelph has been a little bit of an outlier when it comes to our current rating for what, there's a whole bunch of criteria that is embedded in getting that rating, that we've actually been way ahead of many other similar size cities that we would be compared to. And so if we do even drop one, we'll kind of be in line with many other municipalities that are similar in our size and demographics and all the criteria that they use. I'm not trying to downplay it in any way. I wanted to be transparent about it, but it was a strategic and acknowledged move by council that, are we going to ignore the growth that we have to have? Are we going to ignore trying to build infrastructure for housing? And so basically it almost came down to a business case. It really did. So are we going to be able to look to potentially take a little bit of a hit, and yet we're going to help unlock housing for people to make housing more affordable just for a little while? Or are we going to ignore that? And so, yeah, I will say that I actually honestly thought that we were going to lose one notch on the credit rating in 2024, and it didn't happen. So it might not happen, but I'm kind of giving the warning that it might. Yes?
Hello, Cam.
Hi.
Thank you very much for all of your conversation about the importance of housing. I'm wondering if you can speak to the city's view on parkland or access to parks as we increase density in our inner city of Virginia.
Okay, yeah, so the question was, as we increase with housing, there's this acknowledgement that we need to have green space or parkland. So as we grow in population, we should have a ratio for our parkland as well. So that is embedded in our official plan of the city. In fact, every city has that on a certain ratio. We have to look to either purchase parkland, like the city has to purchase, or when developments happen, developers have to either provide that space if they can, or if they can't, they actually have to pay what's called parkland dedication fees, and that goes into a reserve account where we would then have money to go purchase green space. Our ratios are they're just okay, but we need to be looking at probably purchasing some more parkland as we continue to grow. And that's in the plans, that's all identified, just so it's not a surprise there. It's all identified. And so, yeah, we're looking to make sure that, you raise a good point. Yes, housing is important, we all acknowledge that, but we can't forget about the other stuff that goes along with that. In fact, that's one of the arguments, if I could just digress for a second, that's one of the arguments we make with the province as an example. We go, housing is super important, but so is all, what about our education system? What about our healthcare system? What about everything else? What about parkland? We have to think about the stuff that goes part and parcel with the housing as well. I would also say that during COVID, a lot of people started to really love the outdoors, our trail systems and parks and stuff like that. So it's become much more of a demand within not just Guelph, but many communities. Yeah.
You said that the timeframe for permits and site planning and all those things, zoning has gotten better, but it's percentage, not dates. Do you know dates in terms of it takes 50 days to do this or whatever it is?
I can try to get that for you. There are some, the question was when it comes to permits issued, approvals, how the percentage has gotten better. But the question was, is there an actual date or a time, a number associated with that? So the answer is that some of that is actually now dictated by provincial legislation. So the province actually changed some rules for all municipalities to say, you have to make sure that you are meeting certain timelines, 80 days for this type of thing, 50 days for that, so there's some of it is very embedded in legislation. When that type of legislation came out, it was a couple years that came out, I was actually totally in favor of it. I still am in favor of it today. I think municipalities should be judged and should be held to account on actually getting things done in a certain time frame of days. So I can try to get that number for you. I will say the only difference that's kind of shifted in the last couple of years is that many municipalities are starting the clock or starting the timer on days when they deem an application actually approved. And so sometimes there's work behind the scenes that's been happening for a long time on that application, but until it's deemed approved, that's when the clock actually starts, and then that's when the days and the numbers can be calculated. If you want to stop me after, I'll try to get your email. I can get you some more information on that if you want. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, given that you identified that you're not getting all the infrastructure funding that you're hoping for from the province, and given the uncertainty of the economic times in the private sector is not building houses because of market conditions, would you consider using your strong mayor powers to instruct staff to look at areas where you have surplus capacity in your infrastructure to look at DC exemptions? Your DC bylaw right now is charging over $66,900 per home, new home being built. And those are costs.
Yeah.
With highways, with infrastructure.
Yeah.
But there are some areas where that capacity exists, and you can loosen up some DCs to really incentivize the private sector to help you meet your provincial dues.
Yeah, thank you. So the question in general was, is there ways of looking at capacity within the current system that may not then be required for infrastructure investment to unlock more capacity for our housing to get built, which in turn means maybe you don't have to collect as much development charges. Am I good so far? Okay. So first of all, our staff are already looking at any type of risk mitigation, and the ability to actually enable a little bit of some common sense and breathing room within our current capacity. They are already doing that already. They have been for the last couple of years. And so that's just on the capacity side. On the development charges side, there is a really strong conversation in all of Ontario, so not just Guelph, around costs around development charges. Ontario being one of the only provinces in Canada that has this type of regime. So in all other provinces, you will see that the provincial government actually helps with all of these types of needed infrastructure costs, so it's not downloaded onto developers or home purchasers, like in the case that you just said. And so what happens is, in Ontario, municipalities are dealt with basically this scenario. Do we wipe away development charges and take that fee that's now missing and add it to the general tax base? Because that money still has to be collected somehow. And you're starting to see some try to do that. Vaughan, Mississauga, in just the last couple of months, trying to determine that. That conversation probably needs to happen here at the City of Guelph, but I will just say this, it should be at the province. It should be, like in other provinces. And I will just say this too, the calculations we've done in the past will literally have the City of Guelph looking at between 12 to 17% tax increases every year if we try to wipe away any of the development charges. And that's also unaffordable for the existing taxpayers, both business and residential as well. So the fees on new home building, it really rests a lot at the provincial level. And I think you're starting to see a lot of movement on that at the provincial level. It's even being talked about a lot during the election. And so hopefully we'll see that completely change. Last thing on that, I talked to you about how we got some money for Wellington and Wyndham and increasing some capacity there. We got like $2.something million. I'm thankful for that. That is great, right? But like municipalities should not compete for that. Why do we have to send an application in to try to compete for that type of stuff? We should just be given the money to unlock the infrastructure, which lowers development charge needs, which then in turn can look to also lower the cost of homes. I'm up for the conversation 100%, but it is a difficult thing to try to balance with new home buyers versus the existing tax base.
There was a question somewhere over here. If someone's
It would be wait.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, are we good? Yes, I think we're good. We're good. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
All
right, that was great, thank you so much. Just gonna skip ahead, perfect. So, thank you so much, Mayor Guthrie, that was amazing. It's always informative when you get a chance like this to talk to the mayor and see kind of where his mind's at, what he's looking forward to the next year, and kind of summarize the last year. For someone who's new to Guelph, I definitely appreciate the summary of what's happened over the last year, because I'm definitely in full catch-up mode, so thank you so much, Cam, I appreciate you. So thanks everyone for joining us this morning. Before I pass things off, I'd like to turn your attention to the 10 cards on your table. Registration is open for our upcoming International Women's event on March 6th, and our nominations for our Guelph Awards of Excellence are also open. Feel free to scan the QR code for more information. I'd like now to welcome up the University of Guelph's interim president, Dr. Renee Van Acker, to share some closing remarks as we wrap up this morning. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Renee Van Acker.
Well, good morning, everyone. First, thank you to Mayor Guthrie for your remarks and for your support, and to the Guelph Chamber of Commerce for bringing us together, and all the sponsors who made today possible. It's great to be here with all of you. It's a pleasure and honor to be in this room with people who are dedicated to making Guelph a great place to live and work. You've built businesses, created jobs, volunteered, and shaped this community. Your work drives our local economy and improves all of our lives. At the University of Guelph, we're very proud to be in Guelph, contribute to its success, and be an integral part of what makes this city exceptional. As the second largest employer in Guelph, our campus has more than 4,000 employees, and here in Guelph, nearly 30,000 students. Our staff, faculty, and students bring fresh ideas, talent, energy to the city, and many of our students and graduates choose to build their careers and lives right here in Guelph. And the number one driver for our students wanting to come to the University of Guelph is for the experience they will have here, and a big part of that is the city of Guelph. University of Guelph students are deeply connected to this community, not just as future employees, but as volunteers, problem solvers, and active contributors. Through the Guelph Lab, for example, they work alongside the city to tackle real-world challenges. Through Project Serve, hundreds of students volunteer each year to support local organizations. And with over 5,000 students in 67 co-op programs, they gain hands-on experience while providing fresh talent and innovative thinking to local businesses. Right now, as the mayor noted, we're all navigating uncertainty, economic shifts, political dynamism, which is a great euphemism, workforce challenges, and housing pressures. But one thing is clear here in Guelph, and again, the mayor emphasized this, in Guelph we work together. And by working together, we solve problems and create opportunities. We're grateful for the openness of the city and the business community to supporting our students, whether through co-op placements, research partnerships, or community initiatives. These collaborations benefit our students, and thank you for that, and they strengthen our economy, drive innovation, and help us grow together. A great city and a great university within a great city does not happen without strong relationships. Our connection with the city of Guelph is key to our success and to the success of our students, staff, and faculty. And we proudly carry the name of the city everywhere we go, here in Guelph, across Canada, and in more than 400 places around the world where we have research collaborations and where our faculty and students represent the Guelph name with pride. And we deeply value the relationship with the city. A great example is our ongoing collaboration with Chief Kobe and the Guelph Police Services. Chief Kobe has worked to strengthen ties with our university executive team and with our broader university leadership team, and with me personally. Through open communication and a shared commitment to Guelph and to safety and well-being, we've been able to address issues impacting both campus and the city, and we have plans to do much more together. We also greatly appreciate the chance to work closely with Tara Baker, the city's Chief Administrative Officer. Strong municipal university partnerships allow us to tackle critical issues, supporting a vibrant downtown, addressing housing needs, and improving services for students and residents alike. These relationships truly make a difference in how we support our community. Housing is one of the biggest challenges we all face, and the Mayor mentioned our intention to build our first new residence in over 25 years. In addition to that, we're also moving forward with plans to redevelop 2 further university-owned sites, creating more than 2,500 additional student housing beds as well, Wellington Woods and the site at the corner of College Ave and Gordon. In total, we're committed to providing 4,000 additional student spaces and bring our student spaces to more than 9,000, or about 25% of our student body that we'll house. These projects are part of our new real estate strategy, which lets us make better use of our assets and to meet student housing needs. By expanding housing options, we not only support our students, but also ease pressure on the city's broader housing market, strengthening our role as a key partner in City of Guelph's housing strategy. So thank you all for being here this morning at this Chamber's annual State of the City. Additionally, again, thank you to Mayor Guthrie for your leadership and for your inspiring remarks and for your detail on what's happening in the city and what will be happening in the city. And congratulations to the 2024 award winners. Lastly, thank you to the Delta Guelph and your hospitality this morning. So we wish everybody a good day, and thank you again.